2020, we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, which is right here behind me, if everybody can see it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, welcome back to In Person. Well, look who just entered the room, the Queen. For those of you that are new, this is Betty Shelley. She is our Queen, Queen Betty. All right. Okay, one thing we're going to do just right away is a roll call, and we're going to do it just like we did on Zoom, if you recall. Christina will call off your civic association and make sure that whoever is here is the official representative.
So if you could just make sure that you say your name when I call your association so we know that it's a designated rep or alt per our bylaws, that would be great. Bell Harbor HOA. Bermuda Riviera Association. Beverly Heights, Lynn, I saw you. Birch Park Beach HOA. Central Beach Alliance, Bill. Central City Alliance. Central City Alliance? Okay. Coley Hammock?
Yes.
Coral Ridge Country Club Estates? And you are?
Here.
Coral Ridge Association?
Here.
Thanks, Abby. Coral Ridge Isles HOA? I can't hear. What's your name, please? Thank you. Yeah. Coral Shores Civic Association? Croissant Park Civic Association? Thanks, Michelle. Dolphin Isles HOA? Downtown, Melinda, I saw you. Edgewood, Wendy or Tom? No? Flagler Village? Galt Mile? Golden Heights HOA? Harbordale? Hi, Marilyn. Harbor Beach Property Owners? Harbor Inlet Association? Historic Dorsey River Bend? Well, you're not with Historic Dorsey. You're with Shady Banks, right? Yeah, okay. Nobody's from Historic Dorsey? Idlewild? And you are? Imperial Point, Betty, we saw you. Lake Air Civic Association, April Young, are you here? Lake Ridge, Michael, I saw you. Landings Residential Association? Lauderdale Beach HOA? Barbie. Lauderdale Harbors? Hi, Ed. Lauderdale Isle Civic Association? Lauderdale Manors HOA? Christine, right? Melrose Manors? Kathy? Middle River Terrace Neighborhood? Nurmi Isles, Janet, I saw you, right? Yeah, okay. Palmer Village 1, Donna, I saw you. Poinsettia Heights? Hi, James. Poinciana Park? Progresso Village? I'm with Rio Vista. River Garden Sweeting Estate? Riverland Preservation Society? River Oaks? Riverside Park? Ann or Warren? No? Rock Island, Frankie, I saw you. Sailboat Bend Civic Association? Seven Isles Civic Association? Shady Banks, Sunrise Intercoastal, Jim, I saw you. South Middle River, Tarpon River, no. Victoria Park. Okay, we have a quorum.
All right, so, ooh, is that loud? Oh, Golden Heights, oh.
Sharon Alexander?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, before we get going.
Is there anybody else who didn't get their association called for roll call? Because some people came in late? No? Okay, thank you.
Are you done now? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. We're really good friends. All right, let's see now. First thing I want to do before we get started is make some introductions. We do have a new neighborhood support manager, and that is Louisa. I know she was just here. There, please stand up. So this is our new Hal Barnes, believe it or not. Nothing against Hal, but he's a little bit, easier on the eyes. But we're so happy to have you, Louisa. Really, I'm very thrilled that you're here to help us.
And also, I want to announce that Junia is Robinson, that you know, is also an assistant neighbor support manager, so she'll continue helping us serve you all.
Okay, great. And that's Junia, in case you couldn't hear. We are very familiar with her. So, all right, thank you, ladies, so much. And thank you in advance for everything you're probably going to have to do for us. So I thank you. And just before we get started, I just want to, we're going to do things just a little bit different. This is what happens sometimes when things change. But I just want to announce, what we're doing now is what we tried to do in the past. We're going to have a commissioner at each one of our meetings. And we got derailed thanks to COVID. So just in June, just so you know, we're going to have Commissioner Moratis come, and she's going to speak. Also, since we all just got off of spring break and we're about to enter summer, I don't know about your neighborhoods, but my neighborhood in District 1 has the most Airbnbs or vacation rentals or whatever you want to call them. So we are going to have code enforcement come at the next meeting and the new police chief just to talk about what to do, because I don't know if everybody else had the same problem we did, but we had a lot of problems in Coral Ridge. So we are going to work on that for the next meeting. And if anybody needs to know the number to call or anything to complain, just let me know. I can send it to you. Okay. All right. And also, with every speaker, every presentation, we always allow questions. Within reason. So if you have a question, please make it brief. We don't need to hear everybody's opinion. If somebody kind of goes on and on, then it takes away time for other people to ask questions. So just, if you have a question, great. I like questions, but just make them brief and respectful too. So, So without further ado, I don't see Dr. JJ. He's first on the agenda. Hopefully he comes, because that's not him. We have something for him. So if our vice mayor doesn't mind just jumping up to the podium here, and I think you all might have a good idea who Vice Mayor Sorensen is. He's been around for a while. You want to use this or the podium?
Yeah, I'll use that if that's all right, Mary. Cool. Thank you, Mary. Good evening. How we doing? All right. Thank you. I'm doing great. It's great being here. Thank you for allowing me a chance to chat a little bit. I'm going to stand maybe right here. So wanted to cover a couple topics and then turn it over to you all for what you'd like me to talk about, if that's all right. So just want to pick up off of Mary's vacation rental. How many of you have issues with vacation rentals in your neighborhood? I'm just interested to see. Okay, many of us. So here's some of the numbers on vacation rentals that are registered in the city of Fort Lauderdale, registered vacation rentals. And the point I want to make is the number that are registered is far fewer than are actually operating, right? So my District 1 folks, 261 registered vacation rentals in all of District 1. District 2, 529. District 3, 33. And District 4, 276. So, and this is courtesy of Earl, who's the president of Lauderdale Isles. So in District 4, this is a massive underrepresentation of the total number of vacation rentals. So this was all Earl and Lauderdale Isles coming up with this idea, but in District 4, we formed a informal vacation rental working group, and it's just neighbors that I'm going to participate in with appropriate city staff to just help, what are we seeing? What can we do? How can we improve the ordinance? You've seen the city of Hollywood has done some, I think, pretty interesting, good things around requirements of vacation rentals. So what's the latitude we have, and how can we make sure that as a city we are enforcing the registering and the appropriate conduct of vacation rentals? So I just encourage you, if this is something that is a challenge in your neighborhood, possibly get together a couple of the presidents, maybe a little bit informal working group, maybe mention it to your commissioner, just so that as Earl and his group are going to bring ideas and solutions to me of what we could be doing citywide, if we can have support of other neighborhoods and commission districts, I think we'll have a little bit more buy-in and ability to get things done. Is that fair? Make sense? Okay, great. So that's vacation rental. So thank you, Earl. Is that good? Anything else, Isha? Is that good? Okay, great, thanks. That's vacation rentals. The USS Fort Lauderdale. Go Navy. All right. Actually, I don't think I need this, unless, is someone online that needs to hear me? It's being recorded, so I'll keep talking. Thank you. Being a Navy guy, I've been in the Navy now 14 years, going on 15 years. I'm really excited about this. Those of you who knew and loved Chuck Black, Chuck was the driving spirit and force behind this. Mayor Seiler also was a driving force behind this. This is very exciting. July 30th, 2022, Port Everglades. We are commissioning this amazing LPD. This has an amazing fighting force. It's going to have about 400 Marines on it, several hundred Navy. I didn't say this, but the Navy officer was asked, well, why are there almost twice as many Marines as Navy sailors on the ship? And she said, because it takes 2 Marines to do the job of 1 Navy sailor. So I love y'all Marines. The Marines will say of the Navy, they'll say of us that the Navy's like the Uber of the military. They take us to the fight, we do the job, and then they take us home. So I can knock myself as well on that. So this is really exciting. There's going to be a bunch of festivities, activities. We'll be sending more information out. If you need information about this or want to know how you can go to events, please just email me, let me know. My wonderful team member Renee is right there. Renee has my card, which has my cell phone on it. So if you don't, many of you probably have my cell phone, but does anyone not have my cell phone number that would like it? Just raise your hand and Renee will get it to you. I think most of you have it, but yeah, if you could. So text me, send me emojis. Marilyn sends me little emojis of dancing, but no, she doesn't. But they have my cell phone on Mars. Yes, exactly. Thank you. I want to be within striking distance of anyone. So yeah, just raise your hand, Renee. I'll get that to you. So City Commission is moving forward with allocating $250,000 to the USS Fort Lauderdale towards the commissioning events and the commissioning process. Believe it or not, Navy ships, when they're commissioned, are lacking many key resources, such as gym equipment, such as TV monitors, and a whole host of other basic necessities that I think are important for our fighting force. So that money will go towards some of those amazing necessities and towards the wonderful celebration of the USS Fort Lauderdale. Good with that? Questions, comments on that? Okay, great. Yes, please.
Can you tell them how unique it is for Fort Lauderdale? You had given in Rio Vista a number of how few cities have this opportunity. Can you share that with them?
Yeah,
really
sure.
Cool.
So this is amazingly rare opportunity. It is for a amphibious assault ship like this to be named after a city basically doesn't happen. There's maybe 1 or 2 that have ever been named after a city. So it's an amazing opportunity, and I think it really celebrates and recognizes our naval history here. If you go back, World War II, right, Naval Air Station, Fort Lauderdale. We have had presidents train and fly out of there. So this is amazing, amazing celebration. And I think we all just celebrated Fleet Week and the air show, so it ties in to that amazing community and support of our national security. So yeah, Ed.
Any plans of citizens being able to board those?
Absolutely, Ed. Yeah. So when during the commissioning, they're going to be here probably a week, 4 days to 5 days. So and again, we'll get this information out, but if you're interested, want to participate, just send me an email. You all have my email and cell phone, text me, and we'll get you included. Yeah, sure.
I'm surprised to see that this is the last commission because I thought
Yeah.
private donation was the total cost.
Yeah.
What happened with that legislation?
Yeah, so private donations will be part of this effort, as is the city, and it's I kind of think of it as some of our other efforts in the city where it's a partnership between the city and nonprofits and private donations. So it'll be a combination of all those things. Yeah, the city was always interested in contributing to that effort. It was just a matter of how much. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Who sets the budget for what's the total?
The commission. City commission. Oh, for the whole commissioning process? Oh, that's the commissioning committee. I don't know what the whole budget is. I don't know what it is offhand. Yeah. We just set how much we contribute.
Are you giving families $250,000 and keeping it and spending it on individual things?
The commissioning committee will spend it. Yep, exactly.
Is there some last question?
Yeah, it's all good.
What the total amount is and what's the
Yeah, there absolutely will be. Well, actually, maybe Michael he's part of the commissioning committee. You want, here, give me.
I was
Okay.
Is this fine?
Yeah, it is. And I don't know that everybody can hear your questions, so.
Your question was, who's governing the,
like, what's the total budget? It's like, why don't they spend $250,000?
there's an estimated total budget, actually, I'm sorry, I should have brought the cards in. There's 3x5 cards outside there of the USS Fort Lauderdale, and there's an actual committee, and you can go right to the link, and you can find everything out there. I sit on the committee, on the sub-chair of the community outreach, and that's why I brought this posting here tonight. I am the president, for those who don't know, of Lake Ridge. Chuck Black was the past president of Lake Ridge. Chuck Black was a retired senior officer of the United States Navy. He concepted this idea in 2012 and fought Congress. He took it directly to Congress and to the United States Senate, and they made the stream come alive. And the stream came to fruition. And that's why this ship is here. I think it's an honor to have it as a major city in Fort Lauderdale, as a major city in the United States, especially to have it named after the USS Fort Lauderdale. And it's a marine transporter, as the commissioner of Clarendon stated. But to answer your question, there is, Greg, Christina's handing them out. So you're going to be, you actually can zoom in, and the commission will definitely tell you exactly and fulfill all your questions that you need to know. Is that fair?
Wow. Yes, I mean, it's total budget $10 million or $1 million.
I don't know what the total budget is. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to pick a number out of the sky, but they'll give you the budget right then and there. Okay? Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Thanks for all your work on this. It's just awesome.
By the way,
Yeah.
for those, we're cleaning the beach, all right? Second Saturday of the month with the USS Fort Lauderdale, so if you feel energetic, then come on out. Come to Fort Lauderdale Beach and help us, we do beach sweep. And so you can help us keep Fort Lauderdale nice and green. Thank you.
Thank you. Couple other projects. One, tunnel bridge. I'm sure you're kind of up to speed on this. So crossing the New River. We've been advocating as a city commission for the tunnel option. We voted unanimously in support of that. The challenge is the cost for any of these options. So that continues to be discussed. The county, it sounds like, is going to make a suggested, let's call it local preferred alternative, what they would like to see probably in the next month or so. So we're continue to push towards the tunnel and continue to look at costs and so forth. And obviously, the biggest piece is getting funding, specifically federal funding. About half of the cost of whether it's a bridge or a tunnel, will need to be brought in federally. So the mayor's been having conversations with Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Buttigieg, And we've been talking with other kind of Washington folks to try to advocate. So that's the tunnel bridge possibility. The joint government campus, which again is this idea of, hey, county and city being in one building over there. I'm a big fan of that, big believer in that. It seems like the county just had a meeting regarding it. Seems like there's some pushback and concern there. So we're going to continue to evaluate that. I'm going to continue advocating for a joint campus because I think there's a lot of synergy and efficiencies there. And I'm a big believer in affordable housing. And so the possibility of doing something like affordable housing, workforce housing, mixed income here where we sit right now is very exciting to me. So that's the joint campus. That conversation continues. Let me stop there. If that's all right, Mary, for questions. Could I take questions, comments, whatever you want me to talk about? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question. The FDOT was to produce a frequent asked question survey. Has that come out yet? Have you seen it?
Yeah. Frequently
How do
asked
we
questions
find out?
about what?
The bridge, I'm sorry.
Oh, the bridge. Interesting. No, I haven't seen that. But we can, Renee, if you could jot note. I've had really good conversations and interactions with FDOT, so I'll ask about that. Facts about the bridge tunnel. Great. Bill and then Ed. Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner, talking about the joint government campus, I know the county gave the city until June 10th, I believe, I think it was the date, sometime in June, that the city has to say the county's going to be in control and have, and I think it's a bad mistake for our city just to cave in and say we're relinquishing all control over to the county if it's a joint venture. How do we break this impasse to move ahead?
Yeah. Bill's question: How do we kind of break the impasse with the county? So I'm talking to the county mayor and county commissioners. I think if we're going to be partners, we're going to be partners and need to be equitable partners and equal partners, especially in that kind of operational side. So that's what I'm pushing for. I'm going to keep doing that. And it's interesting because when I talk privately to many of the county commissioners, there's interest in doing what we're talking about. So I think there's a possibility. We're just going to keep advocating. Yeah. Ed. Yeah.
Vice Mayor.
Sorry, I'll come back to you. Okay, get Ed next. All right. Affirmative price on the tunnel. So we're at 1.8 billion right now. There, Chris Lagerbloom was talking to another engineering firm out of Denver, I think they were, and his understanding is that 1.8 billion would come down further. But Jenny, you're smiling. Do you have any info? It's 1.8. Yeah. Okay. Is what we've known so far. Still pretty high. Yeah. It's a lot of pennies in the couch. Shake out.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
I'm Christine Jones, Lauderdale Manor. My question is, have you all talked to the neighborhoods to find out how they feel about this tunnel on their side of the street versus the east versus the west? We just had these folks at our homeowners meeting last Thursday. Yes, the tunnel, they say, costs $1.8 billion. So that's a lot of money to dig holes down in the ground, and we already sitting on top of water. The beach is right over here, remember? Yep. So my concern is, how do the neighborhood feel about that tunnel being put on the west side of the tracks versus the east, and you moving the neighborhood on the west side?
Sure. Yeah. Great question. So District 4, my district starts in the middle of Broward Boulevard and goes south. So I've talked to all the neighborhoods on the south side, which is where about half of the tunnel would be. And so there's definite interest there. But to your point, hey, it will have an impact. There is going to have to be kind of a low decline as it goes in, and it is going to impact a lot of surrounding properties. So there's concern, but there's also, from the neighborhoods I'm talking to, there's interest in kind of the tunnel versus the bridge, because the bridge impact around the visuals and so forth is, and part of the footings of the bridge have a different impact than the tunnel. So, yeah. Yep. Good question. Thanks. Yeah.
Question about the commuter rail.
Wait, you know what? Because other people can't hear you.
Sure. Troy Liggett from Middle River Terrace. We've had the rail folks to our neighborhood twice now.
Yep.
the first time was all about the tunnel versus the elevated. But we asked them back to talk about the increased traffic on all of the areas that aren't elevated, which is just downtown. I mean, from Davie to Andrews to Sunrise to every intersection. And we finally got out of them. It's going to more than double the number of trains, which they said was about 9 per hour over every other track. Have you considered that in the concept of the whole proposal? And maybe instead of doing the tunnel, you can elevate the tracks all the way so that isn't an issue?
Yeah, and when you say elevate the tracks where? Through the whole county. So interesting, I have not considered elevating the tracks the whole way through Broward County. I think the cost would be massive. So I just don't know, but hey, it's worth asking. I'm happy to talk to FDOT about it and ask them. See what they say. More than 1.8 billion, probably, but I'm not an engineer, so I don't know. Let me go to Maryland and then James. Yeah. Thanks.
Right back at you, James.
Yeah.
We had them out to our community as well, and we had long and agonizing discussions about the tunnel versus the bridge. And the tunnel was a wonderful idea. Everybody loved it, especially because of not, splitting neighborhoods. But it all came down to money. And until you can figure out a way to explain where $1.8 billion is coming from, I don't think that, some people are going to move on this issue, especially the county commissioners. So has anything progressed on the budget on this? Can you give us some real numbers, some real allocation? I'm not you personally.
Yeah.
But has because the conversation hasn't moved since January.
Yeah, my sense is we have not gotten a commitment federally for these dollars. And so to your point, if we don't have the federal commitment, I don't see how we progress. So that's the end all be all there. And I think no solution is not a solution, right? So we've got to do something here. It's got to do something.
Solution? That's not true for some people. I know for many people, no solutions is not a no action is a viable action.
Okay.
Because I've got lots of people in my community who have never been on Tri-Rail, are never going to go on Tri-Rail, don't give a hoot about commuter rail. And when you look at the numbers, the number of people who are going to use that commuter rail is like 10,000 people a year at its maximum capacity 10 years from now, and they're all lawyers going between Miami and Palm Beach. So there's, don't get caught up in your own rhetoric. Planners do that a lot. We get caught up in our own, rhetoric that this is the greatest thing since anything else. It's not true. So you could get blindsided by this because you get hooked into this idea. Oh God, we got to do something. This is what we got to do. This is smart growth, yada yada, and they're not true.
Okay. Yeah. So sure. To some people, I'm sure. Yeah. James.
So I just wanted to respond to Troy's question because I did bring that question to the FDOT when I attended one of their meetings, and they had at no time have they ever considered elevating the train tracks through Broward, which is unfortunate. Yeah. I live in Poinsettia Heights. I cross those tracks all the time.
Yep.
So there's going to be a huge impact on thousands of motorists every day crossing back across Sunrise, 26th Street, Commercial, all those roads. As far as the cost of the tunnel, the 1.8, to my knowledge, does not include the cost of purchasing the private properties that are going to be necessary to put a tunnel in for the rights to that. And additionally, it does not include the cost of resiliency, which no one has ever brought up, even estimated what that's going to be. So this isn't a $1.8 billion tunnel. This is going to cost a lot more than that.
Okay.
My community, we believe it's too much money. We think we need to go with the lowest impact bridge that's possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, James.
I'm pretty sure I don't need that because I always have an outdoor voice.
Yeah.
But more on the tunnel bridge.
Sure.
I think that you have asked every time there's been a presentation. I have asked every time there's been a presentation about the cost of elevated tracks? And the consistent answer is no one's asking us. We're asking you all, elected officials, have to ask about the cost of elevated tracks. Most dense states in the country prohibit surface tracks because of safety in areas of high density. I mean,
Yep.
one a week is what we're up to now with Brightline. That will increase with 9 more trips an hour.
Yep.
And Brightline, or their parent company, just asked for another $85 million to add safety features. So are we going to dribble out the cost of an elevated track, or are we going to fix it right in the first place so the entire city can have improved transportation, not just 4 blocks in the middle of downtown?
Sure. Yeah. One of the things I also pushed for was undergrounding, if we have a tunnel or elevated, is putting freight and passenger on elevated or tunnel, which FECR is not allowing. So unfortunately, we're going to have at-grade freight regardless of what we do. Just FYI. Yeah.
All right. One
Correct,
last,
including a bridge. It's still going to be at-grade freight.
all right, I think one last question from Dennis. Okay.
Great.
Hi, Ben. What is the county doing to address the 911 issue?
Yeah, so they had a meeting today. Was anyone at the county? Judy, do you want to share what, I don't know if you're comfortable what they talked about or? Okay, yeah. Stay tuned. Channel 10.
Yeah, actually, it's more like a workshop, so no action could be taken. So it will be coming back, and there was some direction given to staff to look into a temporary fix of funding for right now and bring in some experts to really examine the whole thing. Is it just a matter of money or lack of expertise? Because the sheriff's office is just a vendor to the county. So further discussion will be taking place about bringing in some more expertise. And there's a county staff is working on an update of the Fitch report, which was the original report that was done to get us to the point we are today. So it'll be coming back, I guess, the next meeting, but Jared Moskowitz did make the motion to go ahead and move forward for direction to staff to bring something back for at least a temporary $4-point-something million as they finish the study. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Judy. And we as a city commission at our last commission meeting said we'd like to evaluate again, which hasn't been done in years, having our own system, having our own 911 system, because what was going on is just not acceptable in my mind. And so the city manager is running that analysis and is going to bring it back to us as a city.
I'm sorry, one last question because,
Yeah, Mary.
oh, Bill.
Well, Commissioner, I watched
Yes.
some of that hearing this afternoon because it's been very dear and close to my heart, the 911. It is a train wreck, as we've all read and seen. One thing that did come out today, Mayor Udine,
Udine, yeah, Mayor Udine, yeah.
he said, you know what, they're possibly looking at maybe a possibility of doing a referendum to create a charter officer over the 911 system. That, if you look around this nation, a lot of cities have taken their countywide communication system and separated it into a system similar to its own division. The sheriff argued that the sheriff could take it over and do the same thing. Currently, the sheriff's department staffs the center, and there's another agency under the county administrator that buys the hardware, the software, and sets all the policies. So there's where their conflicts are. You have two different agencies butting heads over control. And I think we really ought to look at that possibility and how other countries or cities throughout the United States are doing it and making it possibly a charter office and having a charter officer and complete staff under one umbrella, under total control, and then that charter officer then would report to the commission.
Yeah, I think it's worth considering everything. I was talking to someone in Coral Springs the other day, and they have their own system, and it's been going real well. Last point I'll just make, Mary, and then, is there another question? Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I read a statistic
recently that in the next year or so, it's proposing 16,000 more people will be moving into Davis County. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yep.
With the increased traffic and with the increased trains that are blocking, there's a lot of planning by the city for the future in terms of bringing people in and building more condos and building more homes. But what's being done to alleviate the pressure on the current residents that are paying the taxes and paying your salaries? I don't know, you might want to repeat.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
a
I'll
little
repeat
bit.
it. So, Ann, tell me if I summarize this up. So Ann was saying, over the next several years, there's going to be 16,000 more people moving into downtown Fort Lauderdale. So how are we as a city kind of planning for and dealing with that and making sure residents that are currently living here are experiencing a quality of life and so forth? So it's part of our transportation planning. So for example, the penny sales tax, we're working on one-way pairings. I'm a big believer we could do some really creative things with Broward Boulevard. I'd love to see, and I talk with DOT about this regularly, turning Broward Boulevard into reversible lanes. So morning eastbound, you have like 5 lanes eastbound, then you flip it, and westbound in the afternoon. We're looking at one-way pairs on Andrews and 3rd, commuter rail. So it's a host of options that are underway to kind of look at how to plan this the right way. And I think also it's smart development and saying no to bad projects. Something I believe in, saying no to bad projects. I'm going to keep doing that. So those are a couple ideas. One last suggestion or just topic is Zoe Sanders, our Chief Education Officer. Hopefully y'all know. Zoe, just raise your hand. Give Zoe a hand. Zoe's amazing. We have amazing staff here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. We really do. They're awesome. Zoe's one of them. And at the last commission meeting, we approved an additional about $1.1 million going to public schools in the city of Fort Lauderdale that will be joint. Yeah, you can clap, Marilyn. Clap. Thank you. This is awesome. So joint use parks of a combination of our schools and communities being able to use them. It's for me, I'm just a public school kid from Florida. So for me, it's one of the most exciting things we've done. And I'm really pumped about that. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, good. Yeah, we keep hashing this bridge versus tunnel, but it appears we haven't learned from the past. See, Overtown was a thriving community before I-95 came through there. And when they showed me the layout, the replica of what the bridge is supposed to look like, why did they even do all of this fancy buildings along Federal Highway and Sistrum if you are effectively going to separate the East from the West again? It seems like we should learn from the past. I personally think it's a stupid idea, because they put up all these big high rises. How would you like to get up in the morning, look out your balcony, here comes a train flying by? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Thanks, Frankie. And that's something the Mayor Trentalis has really been hitting on, is the point you're making of just bridges can divide communities and elevate it. So, yeah, I share your concern. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you want one more? Yeah. Good. James.
This is the last one.
Last one.
It's just the funding for the public schools.
Yes.
Was through the work, the EAB and the Parks Recreation Board did a lot of work. There's a neighborhood community input. And thanks to Ben Sorensen, who willingly took reallocating money from one fund under his control in the Parks Bond to the schools, is the reason we're getting what we're getting. So we all really owe him a round of applause, I think.
Thanks, James. It's kind of you. I'm really excited about that. And to continue, you all voted for the park bond. You all supported it, approved it. And I'm really proud of how we're using the dollars. And I feel like it's really done judiciously and appropriately. And I'm getting tingles right now just because I'm so proud of what we've done as a community. So thank you. Thank you, Mary.
Well, thank you so much. We've taken you away from your family, your lovely family. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. So thank you. Okay. Before we go on, I just want to point out that our assistant manager, Greg, is right over there. If you guys have never met him, he's Chris Lagerbloom Jr. Okay, so, all right, well, next, we have Jenny Morgan. I might even say that right. Where are you, Jenny? Right there. And I know that Elizabeth's right there. You're just going to also and you have two other people. Okay. All right, very good. Nice to meet you. And she's going to give a presentation on Zenga Plaza, and they are with the Downtown Development Authority. And I didn't realize how famous Jenny was. Is it not working?
Hello?
There you go. Okay, so please go ahead. There's a presentation is on the screens.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. Jenny Morejon. It is so nice to see so many familiar faces. So many of you I've worked with over the years. My role here at the City of Fort Lauderdale and now leading the Downtown Development Authority. I have an amazing team here with Elizabeth, Alex, and Matthew. And just a quick kind of commercial on the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority. For those of you who may not be familiar, we're an independent government entity. We partner with the city, we partner with the county, with the state, with the private sector, and our organization's been around since 1965 to really promote investment, livability, and improvements in downtown Fort Lauderdale. We're governed by a board of directors who are commercial property owners in the downtown area. And we really represent about a 2.5 square mile area from Sunrise Boulevard down to 17th Street, the shops on Las Olas, out to the Performing Arts Center, and advocate for improvement in greater downtown and really the city as a whole. And downtown is truly that economic engine for not only our city and our county, but it's everyone's downtown. So we're here tonight to present what we believe is a really exciting project. You just mentioned the investment of the parks bonds and how important it is, and if COVID's taught us anything, having great public places where we can go and celebrate our community. And Huizinga Park is one of those special places here in our city. Many of you probably have been there for large events. It's really at the heart of downtown, at kind of the intersection of Main and Main, Las Olas Boulevard, Andrews Avenue, right on the beautiful Riverwalk. It's about a 5-minute walk to 5,000 or so residential units, office buildings, now a new hotel, and it's really a special place that the DDA developed going on about 25 years ago. So we purchased dozens of acres in downtown in the 70s, and many of those lands we gave back to the public and to the civic community for places like the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, Museum of Discovery and Science, MODS, and other great locations. But we kept on this 2 acres of land knowing that it was something special and to provide that open green space. It was also at a time when downtown really shut down at 5 p.m. and no one lived down here. No one was coming down for events. So Huizinga Park was really developed with an amphitheater and a large green space to attract those large crowds. And in many cases, that's really the success of the park. A dozen or so times throughout the year, there's big events. But other than that, it's not really a place that people come to just kind of casually enjoy as a respite from the growth in downtown, as a place of nature where you could come and just relax. So starting just about 4 years ago, we started to solicit expert advice. We brought in folks from the Urban Land Institute. We listened to the community. We saw the Parks Bond getting a lot of attention and knew that parks were important to this city. We studied parks from around the country and how successful urban parks are operated, programmed, the funding sources that are necessary to keep them at a high level of maintenance, which when you have a lot of users in a downtown, that's important. And from that, we came up with a series of recommendations on how to improve Huizinga Park. So last fall, we brought on a world-class design team who has offices here in South Florida by the name of Perkins and Will. And we've been working with them over the past several months to come up with new concepts. And by the end of the year, we'll have a new design plan that we hope to implement with a construction project next year to reimagine Huizinga Park. So tonight, really, and I think You said, Mary, we have about 10 minutes, but I want to definitely answer any questions. I'm going to walk through some high-level kind of slides that show what the vision is for Huizinga Park, and it's really to be a place for all, a place that you can come, whether there's an event happening or not, whether you're there with your dog or your family member or by yourself reading a book or exercising. We really want to create an interesting, high-quality space in downtown. So if you've been there, you know there's kind of this ring around the lawn, and there's really wonderful trees. So we started out by saying, how do we keep as many, if not all the trees that we can? And that's, if you can see on here, it's a little hard to read on these screens, the series of black dots. But what happens is if you're standing, oh, that's a big hand, up here by the fountain on Las Olas Boulevard or by First Avenue, you don't even really know a river's down here. And if you're down on Riverwalk, you don't really know there's a full park. So because there's only really 2 access points, our intent was to really open it up with a whole many more entryways, walkways, places to sit under trees. We call this a series of outdoor rooms with wonderful different experiences throughout. We're introducing 3 new items into the park in place of the current amphitheater, which needs a significant amount of maintenance to be brought up to a level of standard. We are introducing a restaurant that would face the water's edge and have outdoor seating, but also seating onto the park, sort of a tavern on the green, if you can think of it that way. A place that you could go for hopefully breakfast, but at least lunch and dinner, and just have a nice experience in the park. That's important, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But also, if you don't want to go to a restaurant, maybe an opportunity through a cafe or concession building to grab a cup of coffee, an ice cream cone, and enjoy parts of the park. And a big necessity that we found in successful urban parks around the country that are used by a lot of people is to have well-designed, well-maintained, attended public bathrooms. So to make that investment in public bathrooms is really important to us, and it has to be done right. They need to be safe, they need to be clean, and they need to be well attended. And we see that out at the new beach park. You know, people need a place to use the restroom, so that was important to us. This kind of shows with all of these new walkways and spaces, we're keeping as many trees. There's some real wonderful legacy trees in the park today. We want to celebrate those and draw better attention to them, but also improve the health of those trees. And so we're adding almost 100 new trees into the park design, relocating about 24 trees into better spaces where they'll thrive. And this creates a whole new opportunity for much more shade to keep this a cool park. So if you go there today, you know, there's a very large lawn. We thought it was important to keep a nice open space where you could run around, you know, throw the ball, but also just sit under the shade, have small events. The fountain will remain. We'll be improving that. And it's a little hard to read some of these, but I will share this PDF with Mary, and it can be emailed or made available to the full council. The idea that through this overall 4 acres, which includes parts of the Riverwalk, even under Andrews Avenue Bridge, that there's a series of outdoor rooms and new experiences that you can go and celebrate. So I'll walk through those now. If you're a bird flying over the new river, you know, one of the big ideas is to really connect the Riverwalk, and we're working very closely with Riverwalk Fort Lauderdale to make that connection to the water's edge. If any of you have walked on the Riverwalk connection from Laura Ward Plaza in front of Stranahan House further, there's nothing like being able to stand right next to the river and really celebrate that jewel in our city. And coming closer and really bringing the park into the Riverwalk and the Riverwalk into the park. This is an image, and I forgot to mention, we're about halfway through our design process. So a lot of these that you see are renderings to really get to the idea, the vision of what it would feel like, the experience you would have in the park. And right now, if you were to walk in from the corner of First Avenue by the new Hyatt Centric Hotel, there's no real entry point to the park, no sense of arrival. We want to create, you know, multiple pathways in with outdoor terraces, with movable chairs, with furniture that is comfortable, but also able to be, you know, moved if need be. Um, Being able to sit there and enjoy, a meeting, like I said, just by yourself or with someone else, enjoying the lawn, a large, nice lawn, but really connecting the walkways around it. Um, Really making the fountain a center point again. Right now, if you either walk or drive by, you almost don't even know that fountain's there, and it's the end of the viewpoint of Las Olas Boulevard. And with Tunnel Top Park coming as the other kind of bookend of that stretch of the downtown Las Olas section, we think that this can be, kind of the legacy of the fountain re-celebrated. Right now, if you go down there, Huizinga Park is downtown's unofficial dog park. And we used to say that, for every 3 residents downtown, 2 had a dog. What we're finding is those numbers stay, but we're also seeing that there's been about a 40% increase in the number of families with children in downtown. And so we want to make sure that we have spaces for kids, for dogs, for all ages, all walks of life. But we are adding a gated dog run. So there's a designated area for dogs in the park. And, some sculptural in these outdoor rooms, places where kids, but also grown kids could go and kind of have fun. Without traditional playground equipment, I think our neighborhood parks really provide that level of service, but in this kind of more urban park, we want to celebrate some more artistic elements, but the idea that there's these play mounds in some of these rooms. We're working with Broward County and adjacent property owners. For many of you, we've talked about the idea of improving under the bridge for probably decades, but really making it a space it's covered from the rain, from the sun, where you could have maybe events, you could, have activities and even some little outdoor markets, but also to take the ideas that are being implemented by Broward County Cultural Division with public art that lights up our bridges downtown and extend that further under the bridge so it promotes safety, activation, and beauty. This is that image that shows really wrapping Riverwalk down and around closer to the water's edge and creating better space for our major trees to thrive. And then also with the introduction of a restaurant. And why is that important? It's about a 4-acre space that we're talking about. DDA owns about 2 acres of that. We have found that great urban parks around the country, from Clyde Warren Park in Dallas, which is very big, to smaller parks like Beacon Plaza in Detroit, by introducing a commercial component, it allows us as the operators and owners of the park to have a revenue stream that ensures that that higher level of maintenance, design elements, and operations is provided for. So we're in the process right now of going through a competitive solicitation to vet restaurateurs who have the capital, the capability, and the credibility to bring a restaurant that's an elegant but approachable restaurant for our community to this park. And right now it's a little hard to read because they just show it in all white, not to focus on it, but with outdoor dining on terraces, accessible. So I'm wrapping up here, and then I'd love to answer any questions. We've been working on this, as I mentioned, from a visioning standpoint for the last couple years, but we will have design plans completed by the end of this year. We are working our financial package and all of these efforts that it takes to get to a set of construction documents. And we will be able to start construction by the beginning of next year with about a 12 to 16 month construction stage, reopening Huizinga Park, kind of version 2.0 in 2024. For many of you who know, this park is named after our own legacy maker, philanthropist Wayne Huizinga, and we feel that 25 years later, celebrating that legacy, the way downtown has evolved and the direction that it's going, this is an important project that our DDA felt we needed to prioritize for the community. Right now, we're estimating the entire space that I showed you to be about a $15 million project. We are funding that through a variety of sources, including our own DDA taxpayers, those commercial property owners in downtown that pay into the DDA tax. We've earmarked dollars from our bonding capability towards this park. The restaurant lease I talked about. We currently have an appropriations request in the state budget that's going before our governor for $950,000 to contribute towards this project, which we think would be a huge win for Broward County to see investment from the state back into our public spaces. And we're kicking off a capital campaign where private donors and sponsors would also contribute to the cost. We've been partnering with the city for about the past 6 years on a lease agreement for the park. And so part of this project would also maintain a partnership with the city and a capital contribution. And so we'll be looking forward to bringing that request before our city commission this summer. And we've been having those conversations. I'll end with, we've had, I think, one public meeting open to all, but we've been meeting with our Downtown Civic Association, with other key stakeholders, adjacent property owners. And later this summer, we'll have a second public meeting where we'll present the next stage of our formalized design plans. So we're really happy to be here tonight in front of the council and celebrate this park that's really everyone's park in downtown. So thank you very much. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention there's a QR code, and I think Matthew handed out little sheets of paper. We've put a short survey together. Feel free to go on there, give us your input, your feedback, and also our contact information to stay in touch.
All right, Jenny, is this online somewhere where we could get a link and put it in our
Absolutely. We'll send it to you. But right now, if you go to ddaftl.org, and we'll email this out, /Huizinga, that's our website for the park project. And it'll be updated with information as we go, but this will be on there.
If you could send that, that'd be great. Does anybody have any questions? I see Marilyn does. We have a couple questions. There you go.
Thank you, Jenny. This is, in my opinion, lovely. This is what, this is what planning is all about. But of course, I would like to know what amount of money are you asking for from the city, and it is going to be in the FY23 budget, because we have some issues in FY23. So perhaps you or perhaps Greg could answer that question.
Sure. We are requesting a $5 million capital contribution that could be spread out over an 8 to 10 year period. Part of the city's commitment towards capital allows us to go and borrow against that commitment to put up the capital to construct the park. So this isn't a one-time, one fiscal year ask. We recognize the value, the partnership that we have, and working together with the city over the next 8 to 10 years from a funding standpoint.
Okay.
Thank you. My question is on the survey. Can we publish that to our associations, or do you want to limit the number you get back?
We don't intend to limit it. I think one of the things we found is unless people see the presentation, it's a little hard to answer some of the questions. But, we'd be more than happy to join civic associations, give this presentation, and communicate with you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we're good. Well, thank you. That seems like a lot of things that are going to be in 4 acres. Did you say 4 acres? How many acres is that park for? Oh, I don't know why I thought I heard 4. It's like that. How many acres is that?
So DDA owns a parcel that's 2 acres outright. But part of this plan includes the Riverwalk under the bridge, improvements to First Avenue for circulation. So that's where the 4 acres total comes in.
So
about
it's,
half
so it's
of
both.
City.
It's both answers. Okay.
So about half city, half DDA land in that area.
Okay, great. Well, it looks terrific. So everybody do this. Got your little pieces of paper. So, all right, thank you so much. And thank you guys for coming and nice meeting you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sounds exciting. All right. Now we have another very exciting project that's actually finished. And if any of you have driven by the new Y, has anybody done that lately? No? You have, Dennis, yes. A couple people have. Well, I have Cheryl Woods here, and she is the CEO of the new Y, and also with her, Cheryl Woods, that's Cheryl Woods. This is Sharon Hughes, sorry. So how could I get you guys confused? Well, anyway, I think your presentation is up. Is it up there? Or you have a helper?
You just came out of nowhere. Good evening. My name is Cheryl Woods, and I want to acknowledge Ms. Sharon Hughes here, who's on our staff team and has worked for the Y for many, many years. I have the opportunity to be the president and CEO of the YMCA of South Florida. About 7 years ago, I've always been a Broward girl, so that's a good thing, right? I can't say that when I'm in Miami. Let me just say that. But I know it's like the great divide. But about 7 years ago, the two YMCAs merged, Miami and Broward, to become the Y of South Florida. So the good news is Broward gets all my attention because there's a lot of things hopping here. And I love this community. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for letting me present. So I'm going to assume many of you know about the Y because you've grown up in a Y at some point somewhere in your life. But we used to have a Y in Fort Lauderdale many years ago, way before my time. And I heard that we got rid of that Y, and everybody thought the Y left town, and the Y's really never left town. We've been here for many years, but you see our mission, our vision, obviously, is to really grow our footprint. I've been in this organization over 30 years. And I can tell you that I see the magic of this organization. I know the great impact work that we do for all different ages of the community. So our 3 areas of focus, if we were to take everything the Y does, because the problem is we do so many things, we didn't know how to bucket them. So years ago, we bucketed them into 3 areas. 1, youth development. We know kids. I mean, when you think about the Y, we know kids. And when I say that, all the way up to our teens. Healthy living is very much a passion of ours, not just physical health, but also emotional and financial and you name it. And then social responsibility. How does the Y become that location where people like you could give back to others through volunteerism or through events and some of the activities that we do, which I'll talk about. So here's our footprint. And the Y, circles there represent all of our facilities. Our growth in Broward has been significant over the last many years just because of partnerships and collaborations with cities. From the city of Weston to the city of Pembroke Pines to the city of Hallandale Beach to the city of Hollywood and now the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I can tell you, ever since I moved to South Florida, Broward County, I've always been pushing hard to have a replacement of our facility here in Fort Lauderdale. We are also probably the largest provider of after-school programs in South Florida. We have over 128 locations. So I've got about 800 staff that get deployed out every day to to go to these 128 locations, Broward, Miami, and it's pretty much split, the numbers, to provide after-school care. We're the largest provider of after-school care for children with special needs in Broward County. And we're really proud of that. And we do such a good job with that that the city of Pembroke Pines, the city of Coral Springs has asked us to take over their adaptive sports program for the city and their Special Olympics program. So we're really proud of all that work. So when you really look at it, it's about 300,000 lives that we touch a year through programs, membership, community outreach, you name it. We've always been in Broward, okay? This is our location. We've had this footprint at our LA Lee YMCA, just really a block north of Broward Boulevard, and it's been our LA Lee Y for many years. I've worked with the city to try to expand that footprint because we wanted to provide more programs and services in the community, and we were able to get a footprint on Sistrunk Boulevard. So as Mary said, if you haven't driven by, it's pretty significant. Now, when I talk about this building, I do want to talk about how this came about, because what happened was we sat at our old YMCA and we talked to a lot of the people in the community, had roundtable conversations in our gymnasium and said, what would you like to have if we were to move to a different location? And so all of these ideas came together, and that's why this is a 65,000 square foot facility, $20 million project that was done. And I'll tell you more about that. It's a very innovative. There's not another Y in the country doing what we're doing right now, and I'm really proud of that. So this is Activate Sistrunk Boulevard there, and you can see you got to go kind of around the side of that on 14th Street to get to the entry to the building. So these were the things the community said. Number 1, and you guys are familiar with Sistrunk Boulevard, right? A very promised community. Again, we've been there for 80 years. We know the heartbeat of this community. Education, jobs, career opportunities. Provide health education programs and wellness. And when I say that, not just for the local residents, but we've put this together to encourage people in East Fort Lauderdale to cross that track and appreciate the work that's going on in the Sistrunk corridor. All right, there's amazing things happening there. Provide grassroots approach to programs and services. There's so much that we do. During the pandemic, when we have a whole team of community health workers that went out in the community and took care of our seniors. All right, they lived in isolation in that community for however many months we were all in isolation. They didn't have access to food in some cases. Some people's rent were being turned off. Electricity was turned off. It was a crisis going on, and because we were able to go get funding through foundations and other entities, we were able to do Uber Eats and Amazon Prime to be able to provide services and resources to those. So when we talk about grassroots approach, I can tell you that I've always bragged about my staff that if I said, hey, I need 300 people at the city commission meeting on Friday, I could have 300 people here, because that's how rich we are in our grassroots approach. Activate the street, arts and education, community connectedness. So here's how this all came about. So if I go back this picture, the ground floor of that on Sistrunk is 8,000 square feet of retail space. All right, we got to drive economic development, and we're putting together a model that can be financially self-sustaining, okay, because that's very critical to us as an organization. So I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. The second and third floor of this building, it's 4 stories. Second and third floor is your traditional YMCA. So you're going to see your wellness center and all those kinds of things. Basketball court, state of the art of everything. And then the 4th floor I'm going to tell you about here in a minute. So when we talk about that retail space, here it is right here. The first bay, there's 8 bays. First bay is open, so if anyone needs 1,000 square feet to put retail space in, let me know. But bay 2 and 3 is Holy Cross Hospital, and they will be bringing practicing nurses into this area to provide resources to this community. Okay, that's a huge home run. Remember what the community asked for. Second one was a pharmacy. Nowhere in the Sistrunk corridor can you find a pharmacy so that individuals in our community, including myself if I wanted to, would have access to be able to get the necessary medication that I need, but more importantly, how to take the medication and what's the medication going to do, et cetera, et cetera. And then a food hub that I think all of you would be proud to come in and be able to grab some food and go. And it's being run by a gentleman that is a high-profile caterer, used to do a lot of high-profile catering for years, wants to give back and serve the community, but again, make it a more urban approach to a food hub. So here's the ground floor again, Optimal Health, Holy Cross. On the side of the building, the east side of the building, is a preschool. Education was important, right? So this is early childhood education. Del Mar Arts Academy will be providing that program to us. There are capacity of 80 children in 5 different classrooms. Absolutely state-of-the-art services that they will be providing, and imagine the amenities they get being tied to a Y. So you see Optimal Health and Holy Cross. Here's our food hub catering. Again, more of an urban approach to it. Okay, affordable, given this community access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and using Provident Park across the street to even do farmers markets and all of that. Here's something that's really important to us, and the community really wanted it, was a swimming pool. Broward County and Miami-Dade County lead the nation in a number of kids who drown. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I can tell you stories on top of stories on top of stories about the number of kids who drown, and many of them are very much come from Black communities where mom and dad don't know how to swim, right? But more importantly, they're happening right in your backyard, because one second we take our eye off that child, they get into the water, they get into a canal, et cetera, et cetera. So this is very, very important to us. And keep in mind, because you can tell I'm going to be very passionate about this. We do a whole platform on water safety, drown prevention, and we even come into your neighborhood communities, if you have swimming pools in your neighborhood communities, to do what we call our mobile aquatic unit, where we'll go to your swimming pool, we'll talk about the importance of water safety, we'll get the families out there to be educated, et cetera. But For every one child who drowns, 5 children who may survive that drowning are now brain dead for the rest of their lives. And I'm telling you, I can tell you more stories and more stories about those, and I can have testimonials. So we're building a swimming pool. Well, we're building. It's done. It's a beautiful swimming pool. It's 4-lane. It'll be for a lot of swim lessons, water safety, but also water exercise, lap swim, you name it, will be right there. I think it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here's our health and wellness. Remember how this is important? So treadmills, weight equipment, selectorized equipment, it's all state of the art. It's all state of the art. So there's no reason that you all can't come over and participate in that. We've got a group exercise studio, so we'll be doing all the things the Y does, from spin classes, cycling classes, yoga, you name it. Probably the prettiest indoor basketball court I've ever seen in my life that we've built. And remember, I've been doing this for many, many years. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful basketball court. We partner with the Miami Heat, so every time we get these little kids playing basketball with the Miami Heat, we co-brand our jerseys. Kids get a ticket to the basketball game. We go down to the Miami Heat, and all of our kids get a chance to be out on the court and all of those things. We have I'm going as fast as I can. We got a community room where we can be doing HOA meetings. Mary, we're going to host one of your meetings there so that you get to really get a chance to experience this. Is very, very special, right? So remember how I said education was important. We got a preschool. We got the Y who does after school programs, summer day camp, teen programs, college tours, all the things that we do. And we've put Broward College on the top floor. Okay? Education in the community. Get me jobs in the community. Provide me with opportunities for careers. 10,000 square feet, which is essentially the whole top floor of the building, will be Broward College Broward Up program. All right? It's phenomenal what this is. And so I'm really excited about that. Rooftop venues, we probably got 2 of the coolest rooftops on the 2nd and 4th floor that when you really get a chance to get to the 4th floor, it's a spectacular view coming east of this city. I mean, it's like it puts Miami to shame. Come on, guys, you're supposed to laugh at that. One of the other things, remember performing arts? All right, so we created Victory Theater, Victory Black Box Theater. Years and years ago on Sistrunk Boulevard was Victory Theater, the only place that blacks could go to enjoy performing arts and activities and all that. Wanted that back, so we built a beautiful black box theater. Theater. It will hold about 200, 250 people, and we've already had some really cool programs in there as we've started. We've worked with local artists to come in and provide local art to it. We do an MLK breakfast every year. It's very, very special. So now all of the years of that breakfast that we've had civil rights leaders come and speak at the First Baptist Church, and we packed the house, we now have their pictures on the walls so that when you really see it, it continues that legacy. I'm going to ask that anybody over on that table, I've got a couple things. I've got, you're invited on the 20th. We're doing a big grand opening. We're going to be, this is going to be pretty special. Thank you very much. Good job over there. We got Vanna over there waving those. The other thing that I would love for you to pick up, and all I need you to do is just reserve, go online and reserve this, but this is a direct mail piece that we're doing that will also probably hit your neighborhood, but it's just talking about all the types of programs and services that we have. So I want to share that with you. And then last but not least, I want to share with you, maybe if I know how to do this. Where are you, Andrews? Okay, so I need you, buddy. Okay, here he comes. I'm a Y operator. I am not a technology person, so we'll see. Oh, looky here. Take it away. So we put this video together so you can see it. Look at that view. Sistrunk Boulevard, you guys. kids. By the way, Dr. King grew up in Butler Street Y in Atlanta. That's why we're passionate about it. So before he had a dream, he was just a kid at the Y. YMCA invented the sport of basketball. Dave Smith was a Y guy. Father's Day coming up started at a YMCA. So when you guys need fathers, think of that. All of this is available for rental, and I hope you do because that helps us activate the street and drives revenue to our operations. Movie night. Sunrise yoga. So we'll see you guys. Look at that view of the city. It's amazing. You can even see the Hard Rock Hotel. Not
Wow, that is just incredible. I got like goosebumps. And I feel like that Y was built for me, and I'm not a kid. There's a lot of stuff that I would love in there. So, anybody have any questions or anything about? Bear with me here.
We're gonna get Mary in shape here.
Hi. I wanted to ask about the preschool. I'm assuming that there is a cost to attend the preschool. What I wanted to know is the cost income adjusted?
It is.
Okay.
If you live in the 33311 zip code or the 2 or 3 right outside that, your price point's different than if you're a titch further away. But no matter what, it's still a hell of a price.
Okay.
And Fort Lauderdale's going to end up with 2 of these because we've got the land at Holiday Park that we'll be building a brand new Y right there west of Parker Playhouse. And so you join the Y now, you get 2 for 1. So that's why I want you guys to come over.
Okay. I did not notice parking where.
Why does everybody talk about parking? Remember, this is going to be workable, walkable, rideable space. Bus stop there too. Yes, but we've got support in other parking lots in the community, just to the east and to the west of us. So we'll be okay. We're going to test that at the grand opening because there'll be 350 some people there.
Okay. I'll be back over there.
Your presentation didn't say anything about what is the cost to become a member. And those who live in 33311, I pass it every day. I live right down the street. I grew up in Dorset Riverbend. So that has been something that's been coming up quite often. Is there a sliding scale based on your income? And because I've seen this presentation more than once, and every time I'm wondering, why isn't the membership costs mentioned?
Because there's a lot of factors. Number one, if you're at a certain age, which I think is 55, you may be eligible for silver sneakers, which is a whole different price point. If you're within the area code, it's a different price. If you're an adult, if you're a senior, if you're a family. So we're not trying to hide anything. We just need you to come in and tell us what your need is. Anyone that needs financial assistance on top of that, that will be provided. It's been very important to me when we designed and put this together that that guy that lives across the street feels very welcome at that Y. And let me just say too, some of this project was funded through CRA dollars. Okay, not all of it, because we had to go get the rest of the money. This is essentially a paid-for building, because we couldn't take on any operational debt on this particular building. But 50% of the employees in this building are being employed from within the community. And we're at that 61% right now. We've trained and we've brought people in. So I'm telling you, this is like a home run for us, for the community. When I say us, I'm talking about the community.
When do you start?
As soon as I get 4 hours of sleep in a night, then I'll try to start on that. We've already started. I've already secured the architect. We've spent many meetings with the city talking about the layout of the space. We've been very engaged with everything going on in the park, and now a YMCA is coming in. So we're already there. We've got tentative architectural plans for it. We're on it.
Well, I'm very excited about it. I really am. I think it looks, I mean, I've seen the building. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. One more question. You can actually got a microphone right there.
Can you hear? Oh, thank you, Sharon. I'm just curious, when do the adult fitness classes start?
June 1st. Yep.
Thank
Right
you.
now, you can come in, shoot hoops, you can work out in the wellness center, you can swim in the pool, and then we'll start all the classes up in June. And the only reason I say that is tomorrow night we're doing probably 150 person event in the gym. We do a party on the pool deck that's coming up in a different location, but we're going to be doing that. Next week we've got PBS coming in and doing a live show with our theater director who just won an Emmy for a film that she did. And that's going to be broadcast to all PBSs across the country. So we're excited about that. And then the grand opening on the 20th, which is Friday. So we've got to get all these little things out of the way. And then it's Memorial Day and then it's boom. So I'm really asking you all, please have your meeting. We'd love to host you to come out. You do the meeting in the Black Box Theater. We got I mean, it's priceless.
I think it'd be so cool to have a meeting there. So
come see me, but it's super affordable. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's like $50, $100. So we're going to make that work. Don't worry. We don't know how to price some of this, so we're gonna learn a little of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, go ahead.
We have a candidates night, the council does, and we'd like to host it there in your beautiful room there.
The black box room.
We normally would have an art serve for the past 10 years, so it's good to move around. So we'll talk.
We'll talk, please. And I want to encourage you, please. I want you guys to come over, take a tour. I'm there almost every day, it seems like. But I'd love to give any of you a private tour. I want to activate this building with all parts of the community. If you care about building community, you'll cross those tracks and you'll appreciate the great things going on in the Sistrunk corridor. Okay? This is amazing. This is amazing what's happening. I'm really proud of what the city has done. So thank you.
Super cool. Super cool. Wow. It's not that far away. It's just right on the other side of the tracks. I mean, it really is something. I drive by it. I drive by it about 4 times a week. From Carter Park, I come up to Sistrunk and drive by it. It's really something. Okay, and not on the agenda, but and here she comes marching. She knows. Karen is going to give us a little presentation on something evidently a lot of our neighborhoods can do. I hope I'm saying that right. As far as making the roads prettier, but she's going to let us know here.
And I do have a little bit to add to tag off the YMCA. I am a YMCA kid. I went to preschool. I had my swim lessons when I was an infant because we had a pool and my mom wanted to make sure I was safe. And actually, there is some contention. I'm from Massachusetts, where the basketball game was started. And I work for the city of Holyoke, Massachusetts, and we claim that it's really ours, not Springfield, because the game was played at the Holyoke Y, but Jim Naismith was from Springfield, so he took all the credit. And volleyball was also created out of YMCA, so there's a lot. I have fond feelings for YMCAs. Yes. So I'm here today to share one of the projects that we're working on in transportation mobility with the Lake Ridge neighborhood, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what it is, and then I have an ask. If you want to have some great fun this week, painting and planting, we're going to do a community activity to actually implement it. So what we're doing is called tactical urbanism. There's lots of different forms of how you can do that. We're doing transportation, and it's really kind of the short, quick, relatively inexpensive way to make some improvements to a street and see how it works in the interim while we are waiting for kind of the long-term project to come forward. We did a project. Lake Ridge has been working towards this vision for over a decade now, Michael, right? Very patiently and stubbornly keeping moving forward on this project. And we're super excited to be able to see something come to fruition on Northeast 15th Ave. The city used some of their funds with the neighborhood master plan that we did with Lake Ridge to implement some striping, but due to the cost increases with COVID and all the things that are happening, we weren't able to do it the way we wanted. So we applied for a grant through our regional transportation agency called Be Tactical, and it's really to put those finishing touches on this project. If you've driven on Northeast 15th Ave before today, you'll see it's still kind of confusing on what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be because there's just striping. There's nothing else telling you. So what we're going to be doing Thursday through Sunday is adding all those extras. So this is an overview of the project. It's going to be happening on 15th Ave between 11th Street and 13th Street. We will be, the top picture on the graphic, the cross section is what the city installed with just striping. And the bottom one is where we're going to be adding the color and the planters and delineators to really delineate where the spaces are and who they're for. And that. And this is an example of some of the things that we're going to be doing, including crosswalks and curb extensions we'll be adding over the 4 days that we're doing the project. The theme is tropical birds, so that we'll be adding tropical birds in the project, more green paint. Delineators are the white dots, and a bunch of planters. The plants have been donated by a local nursery for all of this. Here's a representation of the before and after. Again, just paint, delineators, planters to add the color. And really you can see the difference in if you drive in it before versus when you drive in it. Once the paint and planters are in there, you can really tell where you're supposed to be. Feel safer as a pedestrian or a bicyclist being in the space and knowing that people understand where that space is. So our installation dates, as I mentioned, are this Thursday through Sunday. Part of my ask today is if you're interested, please join us. We are still looking for volunteers to help. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've scheduled some great stuff with Lake Ridge to have some activities and music, and we will have a ribbon cutting ceremony on Saturday afternoon at noon. So if you're able to come by and check it out, please join us. And as an example of the type of things you would be doing as a volunteer, the painting of the intersections, the painting of the crosswalks. Saturday is our plant day. If you're interested in planting, Saturday afternoon, we'll be doing the planting. The other days we'll be painting, and we're going to be shifting the lanes on where we're going to be and just alternate the 4 different places we're going to be doing them in the different intersections. And again, this is kind of the schedule. If you have an hour, if you have a half hour, whatever you'd like to volunteer, that would be great. These are the time segments, and we're really looking for people during the week and then Saturday afternoon with all the planting that we're going to be doing. So this is, as Mary said, something that we'd love to continue in the future. If this works out well, it's really also a way to test things. So you'll notice that the left turn pockets aren't there anymore once you drive through. The delineators are being put in this week early. They already started. So if that doesn't work, we can shift it. It's just a quick and easy thing to be able to test out different lane structures and how we want to do stuff before the final project comes in the future. So if you have any questions, Michael, if you wanted to add anything.
What do I say? If you like to come out and have a great day, it's 12, 13, 14, and 15, and it's bring, if you have any students that need credit for, would like to get credit for a community project. It's a dream that's really coming true because we've worked with the Master Mobility Plan since 2012. Is that correct, Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, since 2012, we've worked with this Master Mobility Plan, and now it's come to fruition. So this can happen in your community too, because you all have projects in your community with the Master Mobility Plan. It's taken that down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. It's a piece of art. I even got one of the developers, if I may say.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I got one of the developers that putting a high-rise there. I said, it's not a curse word. I said, there's concessions. So I said, how about giving it back to the neighborhood? He said, so how do I get involved? So Adam Feldman Development, his name is Adam Feldman. Feldman Development, I says, make a commitment. I said, we have these huge planters. Put your name on the planters. So I was at 25, 24,
24, yep.
24 planters. He bought them all, and on behalf of the city. And so we have a little bit more, and we're going to have a DJ there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So it's going to be coming out there. So there it is. Thank you.
Karen, I have a question on maintenance.
Sure.
Some of the intersections that Fort Lauderdale has painted before, after all the hot tires, et cetera, they really look worse than if it was just blacktop.
Right.
What's going to be done to keep the maintenance up on that paint, and how often do you think it has to be redone?
So first, the Los Olas crossings, where we painted those, we have found that just there's too much traffic over those streets to be able to keep it in good condition. And there's also a lot of construction that happened in that area, which tore it up in bits and pieces. Painting of intersections is generally not intended to last a long period of time. You do have to repaint them. So with this, if you notice that paint is actually not in the travel lanes. It's outside of where cars are going to be. The reason why we didn't put full green paint in the bike lanes is because there are cars going back and forth over the driveways. So we tried to reduce where any cars are going to be going over the paint to let it keep longer. And then the final intent is that this project will be hardscaped and have more landscaping in the future project. So this is only intended to be probably a 5-year lifespan for this project.
We are going to put out some information after the meeting. You guys will you're all on the email, so you'll get the information on how to look at this. And one more question here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, you do, because it gets recorded.
Karen, I just wanted, if people don't know Karen, she's an incredible resource for education, and she's a problem solver.
Thank you.
Yay, Karen. All right. All right. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
You all good? All right. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you all. See you this weekend.
All right. You might. Okay. So that is the end of our speakers and our guests. We just have a little bit of business. First off, there are several of you that are here that were at the redistricting meetings, and we do have a new map. I think most of you are probably aware of some changes, mostly, but they were very minimal, thanks to everybody's participation. The first maps that came out really divided a lot of our civic associations. So, my goal was to make sure that none of us got divided into 2 different districts. And I mean, can you imagine having 2 different commissioners? I mean, so we do have a new map. Is everybody familiar with it? Pretty much? Yeah.
they were gonna cut off the island and,
Cut off the island.
yeah, the outer island and move it to a different.
There's two neighborhoods that got moved. One is Riverland Village. They're not members of the association, but I'm going to try and work on that. And they went from District 4 to 3. And then the other one is Poinsettia Heights went from District 2 to 1. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. Okay, so I just want to make sure, I don't think, well, you're now with me. There you go. And Dr. JJ never came, did he? That's kind of sad. I do have something for him, so we'll have to make him come to the next one somehow. Let's see what else. We heard us already, Michael already talked about, we are going to have a candidate forum. That was done, 2 or 4 years ago? A couple years ago.
2018.
Yeah, 2018. So we are going to be doing that. If you want to speak to that a little bit? I know you just already did.
The council every year, Maryland, and for those who know about this, it's with Colleen Lockwood, which was the past president, and she picked the whole committee. Myself was on the committee. The last council that we had a candidates night. We basically run a judicial candidates or school, and also members of the school board. Because most of the voters basically don't know who the judicial candidates are, nor the members of the school board. If you say to somebody, who's the member of the school board in your community? They'll look at you like you're putting headlights, and they'll say, I don't know. Well, this is where you get to introduce them. And it's a nonpartisan also, which is the best part about it. It's no political Republicans versus Republicans versus Democrats. No, it's nonpartisan races. Also, too, is that since there's going to be a city commission race this year, so we'll be hosting it also too. So it'll be the judicial candidates, it'll be the county and also circuit, and also members of the school board. I got a commitment from Joe Scott, the supervisor of elections. He's going to be setting up a table with people in the room for a Q&A. Also, the League of Women Voters, they're going to be setting up a table. They'll be in the room. And so it's pretty much together. Betty, you were with us for many years, and hopefully you'll still be on board. And, hopefully all civic associations are invited. We ask you if you'd like to put a banner up. I think it'll be ideal. Move it around. Instead of hot serve, we'll move it over to the YMCA there. Right on Cistron. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. Yeah. And I think it'll be good for the neighborhood and be good for everybody else. So that's just basically it. We'd like to put it maybe 2 weeks before the election. The reason being, we asked people to bring their ballots, so they're actually hearing the judicial candidates. Who was the moderator in 2018 was Helping Howard. Yeah, from Channel 7 News. And he did the moderator. So, but we have a couple of other people that we maybe be looking at this year as a moderator. So it was pretty neat. Come again? Oh. So if anybody wants to join the committee, let me give you, for instance, last year, besides Lake Ridge was Middle River Terrace, Poinsettia Heights, was Victoria Park, Imperial Point, and there was a couple of other associations involved. So we're going to cast a wide net. So we'd like to go into District 3, District 4, Christine, I know you're one of my political allies out there. So we like to really do it and work it like this. So please, don't be shy. Come up and say, I want to roll up the sleeves and work. Because it takes a village to move a town, and to educate everybody also too. So, thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be talking about this at the next meeting also, so it should be good. I missed that one that you did. I heard nothing but good things about it, so it should be really good. I do want to point out one thing. If you've come up here, I made this was made quite a while ago. It's now dated. Some of the districts are wrong. We might even have more associations if you're not up there. You've already paid and done your application. when I redo it, you'll be up there. I'm probably going to wait until July and just do another one, do an updated one. So if anybody, I think almost everybody in here is already filled out the application and paid their dues. But if there's any association, anybody who hears about that's having trouble with doing the application or paying their dues, it's been a tough 2 years, and there might be some that are having some issues with that, please let me know right away so that we can be of assistance to them, because I don't want anybody to be left out for any reasons like that. Okay, and then we did have quite a discussion. The next thing on the agenda is the New River Crossing. There was quite a discussion with Vice Mayor Sorensen. I don't know if anybody wants to bring anything up or has any questions or anything about that. It just seems to be kind of laying on the agenda. Yes, Troy.
Are you taking motions? I saw that was underlined on the agenda. Are you entertaining motions? Okay.
It was underlined.
It
Led to the information page where you could find all the education on it. So it was a hyperlink.
Okay. Below it said the underlined ones were going to be motions, but.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I don't think I knew that. That's okay. No, it's good for me to move around, they say.
Since on the agenda things were underlined, I came prepared with the motion and would like to make a motion, if I may.
Go for it.
Yeah. I move that the association oppose the current grade level commuter rail project design outside of downtown Fort Lauderdale, because it will double the current number of trains crossing each intersection, which will adversely impact vehicular traffic with negligible benefit to those neighborhoods outside of downtown Fort Lauderdale. The motion is to communicate with the city commission and the county commission that this association opposes the current plan outside of downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, I have a follow-up question on that. So I'm not clear on what that motion is, and then we're taking minutes, so you're definitely going to have to restate it, but let me ask my question. How does your motion pertain to the locally preferred alternative? So is your motion, we don't want a bridge, we do want a tunnel? That might be a little bit easier for me to figure out what you're trying to get through with that motion.
My point is that the entire conversation has been about what's going to happen downtown. My motion is about what's going to happen outside of downtown, which they haven't really discussed. But I think it's important that it's considered and that we take a position on that. I thought, because it was underlined and it said there's going to be motions, there was going to be a motion about whether or not this association supports the tunnel or the bridge downtown. So I came prepared with a motion for what's happening outside of downtown, because it's really important to my neighborhood.
Does anybody else have any questions or need clarification on what that motion means? Christine in the back.
No.
Okay.
I was about to do a point of order. You got to remember, some of us.
It's okay. It's okay.
Excuse me, Parliamentary, someone at the floor.
I was about to ask for a point of order. However, some of us was not here at your last meeting or whenever you all decide to do a motion. You need to clarify what you're actually saying. My concern would be if you don't want the tunnel, I don't understand what your motion is all about, period. So you need to be more specific, because if you don't want the tunnel, you need to say we don't want the tunnel on the outside area versus the trains on this side. Please be more clarified into your motion.
I think I can clarify. What he's really talking about has nothing to do with the tunnel or the bridge. What he's talking about is the question that he asked the commissioner, vice mayor, regarding raised tracks or some other alternative to the number of trains going through the neighborhoods outside of the downtown area. So he's asking us to consider bringing a recommendation or a motion to the city and the county to consider that, or to increase the plan to consider it. And do we not need a second?
I'd like to second that motion, but offer a friendly, not amendment, but a clarification. I propose what the gentleman just said, that we would ask the commission to consider ways of addressing the issue of the increased traffic at the at-grade crossings. That could be subterranean, whatever they got to do about that, they've got to focus on it. So if you would accept that, that modification, I would second your motion, which opens it up.
If you're able to get that, let me tell you, it's very confusing. It's very confusing because this was really about the New River Crossing. You're making it about everything but the New River Crossing. Is really what's happening. Let me get back here and I'll get back to you.
It seems to me that there's a lot of confusion with the motion, the intent, and I think you're asking everyone to vote on something that they don't quite understand. So if this is going to be addressed, my recommendation would be to have a presentation or something so you can take a proper vote at some point.
So what I think is the problem is we're trying to solve a problem on New River. The bridge, let me finish before you say no. The bridge is going to open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. That's going to happen on Davie Boulevard, Broward Boulevard, Sunrise Boulevard.
His motion's on the floor.
All the way up. And, excuse me. And what your suggestion is maybe we should have a whole elevated railroad. And this is typical of cities that are grown like us, that we're backed against the Everglades and backed against here. We're going up. We're going like Manhattan. What did they do? They have subways underneath, so they don't have to stop at every street. Or, the old days, they used to have elevated train tracks, and they still have some of those around. Now they're converting them into parks and stuff. But that's a good point. If it's a problem that 10 times an hour or whatever it is, we're going to open and shut this bridge over the river, it's going to happen on all the other streets too. And so you hit, go down the whole bunch. If it's that type of volume, we do need to think broader through the whole county to get it out of the way. So it's not stopping east and west traffic. Or you have that many more crossings.
All right, I could even say something myself. In South Carolina, you know what they do with the trains? They dig a trench, and they are in the trench. They're not even buried. But this is not really what was on the agenda. This is a whole nother subject.
Madam President, as parliamentarian, let me say this. If you hold the gavel, you can accept his item on the agenda, which doesn't have nothing to do with that item on the agenda. This gentleman was speaking about what's on the agenda.
Correct.
If you want to accept his motion on the floor, you hold the gavel. If you want to dismiss it, you can dismiss it. If you want to stay to your agenda, stay to your agenda.
I really would like to stay to the agenda. I think you have I think the motion has some validity, but I think most people in the room really haven't probably thought about that. And we could be here for hours.
Right.
And it's something worth looking into, but I would like to, what can I say, table that motion.
You table it?
And
bring it back to the next.
we'll bring it back. And because I think, as Christine said back there, they, really don't understand it. Yeah, James.
You need to get FGO2 here to talk about for
Okay. All right, so let's table it. Is that okay? All right. Okay, so I can just say it's tabled. That's
right.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, point of clarification, if you want to speak about what this gentleman was speaking on the agenda item, which is the New River Crossing, that's fine.
I'm not sure what you just said.
Did you were speaking about the New River Crossing?
You were actually talking about the New River Crossing, not the rest of the.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna have trains going through north-south here that frequently, you're gonna have a problem at every crossing going up to Palm Beach.
Well, so he's really talking about the same thing.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And it makes
Okay.
less sense, we're solving this little problem, but the other problems are not going away. You're gonna have it on 84, you're gonna have it Davis Boulevard, and Sunrise, all the way up.
Okay, let's.
Can you imagine stopping traffic 9 times in 1 hour?
Maybe one last comment. I thought we were going to that issue about the river tonight.
Sorry.
I thought we were going to consider the issue of whether or not there would be a tunnel or the bridge tonight. That's why I raised this issue. But I think it's very important for everyone to know that the county commission isn't waiting around. Sometime this month or next, they're going to be deciding to endorse the project. The current way it's planned at grade level. So if any neighborhood cares about it, you should probably be communicating with your commission and particularly your county commission within the month before our next meeting.
Okay, everybody understand that? Okay. That is important. I mean, our commissioners do listen to us. That's why nobody wanted to be moved around, because they like their commissioner. Okay? Okay. So we're just going to let the train stay in the station right now. All right. Train's been kind of the bane of my presidency here. Okay, one last thing that I see here, the council audit report. Every May, we do this. And I think, Marilyn, you're giving it, okay? You need to hold this. Just quick.
Nobody took the money and went to the Bahamas. We're fine. Per the bylaws, Jim and I, and with the help of Melinda. Per the bylaws, we examined the council bank statements and PayPal account for the period from April 1, 2021 to March 31, 2022, corresponding to the council's business year. And then I put in the beginning balance, the deposits and transfers, the expenses, and the ending balance, and everything balances. We examined all of the expenses and all of the deposits and transfers and the checking account balances with the bank account. And then we examined the PayPal account, the beginning balance, credits, debits, and the balance, and they all balance. So bottom line is the accounts are reconciled. All the checks and PayPal disbursements were made to persons known to the organization for items approved by the organization. And we have 3 recommendations for the board. The first recommendation is that the board consider periodically transferring the accumulated balances from PayPal to the checking account, which we did not currently do this year. The PayPal account be used exclusively for dues payments and not for disbursements, because PayPal charges a fee and it gets very confusing, and that all expenses and reimbursements be made by check or Zelle, so that you can keep track easily. So this is respectfully submitted, Marilyn Mamano and Jim Concanon, and we give it to the board. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that was Bill Brown. Did you get that? Okay. We're just going to do all in favor of accepting the audit report? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Audit report passes. Yay. All right. We are now going to, has everybody received the minutes? Any comments or corrections on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minute? Up, yes?
Actually, you want to scan this. There is one thing on the bottom of page 1.
No,
where it says
give me
President's
that one back.
report, the correct date
No,
for
I
the
need
June
this.
meeting is June 7th, not June 14th.
Oh, it's backwards. That's backwards. Okay. I didn't catch that. It's backwards. Okay, so on the minutes, if you read them at the bottom and you memorize that, get that out of your head, because our next meeting is not June 7th, it's June 14th. Right, so June 14th, right here in this room, right here. Okay. All right, with that correction, put that correction in there. Any other corrections or anything? Okay, all in favor? Again? There was a motion? Okay, and then there was a second? All right, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, minutes pass. And do we have a treasurer's report? Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So Melinda Bowker here, brief treasurer's report to cap off the meeting. The total balance in all accounts to include our Truist primary business checking, PayPal, and the also taking out payments still due to our president, which I will get done this month, is $15,321.54. I do want to let the membership know that since the last report that I gave you guys on April 12, we have had 4 additional renewals. Those were from River Garden Sweeting, Harbor Inlet, River Landings HOA, and Shady Bank Civic. So thank you for those. The best way to renew and to also fill out your new application is on the council website online. That makes it so much easier. But you can still send checks to the PO box if you do prefer that form. And I don't have anything else. I'll take any comments or questions.
I think we're good.
Okay, thank you.
And the president's report, I've said all I have to say, so I don't really have anything to say. Anything to report? Is there any old business? Nope. No old business. So we are adjourned. Oh, okay. All in favor of adjourning? Aye. Okay, aye. All right, thank you everybody for coming and, yes, Bill.
It's solidified today that August the 23rd will be the school bond referendum. Would it be possible to have a presentation? It's going to be the primary day of the election, and usually a low voter turnout, especially primary election. So I'm asking to have a presentation on the school bond. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
That I can reach out and request that for the school bonds.
Okay,
If you want help reaching out.
That's what I want to do.